Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Settle, and this is my presentation on a climate change topic, car pollution, for climate dynamics class. So what exactly is climate change? According to National Geographic, climate change is a long-term shift in global or regional climate patterns. Often, climate change refers specifically to the rise in global temperatures from the mid-20th century to present. What are some examples of climate change? Some examples of climate change are just a global temperature increase, more severe natural disasters, the ice is melting, air pollution, and sea levels are rising, and the sea is getting warmer. So what causes climate change? According to NASA, climate change is when the Earth absorbs the sun's energy, or when atmospheric gases prevent heat from the Earth to be released back into space. This is also called the greenhouse effect. What happens is the planet gets warmer. A variety of factors, both natural and human, can influence the Earth's climate system. Greenhouse gases are gases that trap heat in the atmosphere, which is what causes the Earth to get warmer. Some examples of the top greenhouse gas emissions are carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and fluorinated gases. Carbon dioxide is the biggest cause of greenhouse gases, and in 2018 was the highest, with emitting about 81% of greenhouse gas into the atmosphere by human activity. Some of the top contributors for the carbon dioxide are transportation, which is the leading cause at 34%, next to electricity and industry. Transportation causes greenhouse gases because we are burning the fuel and gas when we use our cars, our trucks, our daily drivers. Electricity is burned. We burn a lot of coal and gas to heat our homes and our buildings. And industries also use a lot of, they also burn a lot of fossil fuels in order to produce some of our goods that we have. And then the other 19% of greenhouse gas, the carbon dioxide, is emitted from things like farm production, heating and handling of getting rid of our waste. Focusing on one of the topics of climate change, air pollution, which car pollution is one of the main causes of. Some problems with, according to Medline Plus, a government from According to Medline Plus, a website from the government, air pollution is a mixture of solid particles and gases in the air. Car emissions, chemicals from factories, dust, pollen, and mold spores may be suspended as particles. Some of the issues with air pollution is that around 91% of the world's population lives in a place where the air quality is exceeding the limits of the World Health Organization. And air pollution is the cause of about 4.2 million deaths every year because people are living in places with bad air pollution. The reason that car pollution is the number one cause of air pollution is because of our car emissions. We drive our cars daily. Almost everyone has a car. Everyone is traveling for work, for school, for everything. Our cars run on gas, fuel, oil, and diesel. And when we run our vehicles, they burn these gases and they get released up into the atmosphere. Car emissions can cause a bunch of health issues. They can cause upper respiratory system issues. They can cause breathing problems, they can cause a lot of coughing, and they can reduce lung capacity for people. And it can also make it hard for you for when you're fighting the common cold and flu. Another problem with car pollution is it can lead to death, and it can be worse for people with chronic illnesses. They might not have a good respiratory system, which it might affect them more. Also, if you inhale too much carbon dioxide, it will cut off the oxygen to your brain and can lead to death. Car pollution can also be harmful to unborn children and newborn children and can sometimes cause premature deaths. According to the International Organization of Vehicle Manufacturers, there was just under 1 million new vehicles created in 2019. That's not including all of the vehicles that are already around the world and running and sitting. So there are some easy tips to help reduce your car emissions personally. Carpool, use public transportation. If you've got coworkers who live near you, drive to work with them. Take the bus. It still emits a lot of greenhouse gases, but it can help to eliminate the number of cars driving. Or if you live close, you can walk or ride a bike to your location. Maybe you can ride your bike to work in the summertime. Also, some tips while driving. A lot of modern day vehicles don't require warm-ups in the winter when it's really cold and the engine has to heat up before you can drive. Many modern vehicles do not require that anymore, so that's a good thing. And also, don't idle your car. If you're sitting and you can have your windows down, just sit with your windows down and turn your car off. Don't have your car running for no reason. Keeping your maintenance up to date on your car is also good. Frequent oil changes and checkups on your car can help to eliminate any bad emissions going into the air. And also be easy on your gas and brakes, because the harder you press on your gas or your brakes, the more emissions can come out of your car. Another tip is for when you're ordering online or online shopping, you can click an option to have all of your packages delivered at once, meaning if you're buying multiple things from one place, they can ship all of the items together instead of individually wrapping every single item, which leads to more trips that the package people have to take. And also lawn care. There are now starting to have newer models of lawn mowers and like weed whackers that are electric or plug-in. Another option is electric vehicles. It's a little more expensive if you would need to buy a car, but the option of electric vehicles is there. There are different types of electric vehicles. There's an all-electric vehicle, which is powered, they can have them be powered by all electric, meaning they get plugged in to charge and then you go and you drive. It limits your miles, but it's good if you need to charge your car overnight and drive it to work for short runs, maybe not for long trips, but they are good for a daily car. But all electric vehicles have no fuel or tailpipe emissions, so they're not emitting anything into the air because they're running off of all battery, and they can even have solar powered electric vehicles. There's also a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, which uses a battery to power. This runs by 3 different ways. You can plug them into charge, and it will go off of the electric that it has in there, but then it also will switch to a battery. And if you run out of electric, you can have the option to put fuel in it. It is a little better fuel than a regular gas car. The equivalent of running a gas vehicle is equivalent to getting about 80 miles per gallon in the average gas vehicle. Here is a state map of the average mile per gallon an electric vehicle would this is how much gas they would emit if they were a gas-ran car. Owning an electric vehicle is actually a lot cheaper than owning a regular gas vehicle. On average, an e-gasoline vehicle, an e-gas price is half the cost of a regular gas-ran vehicle. They get these prices by, each state is different, but each state has their state gas prices, and then the electric goes off of the residential electric that you would pay monthly, and so it's normally half the cost. There's also no monthly checkups or like fixes needed on an electric car. They don't have like oil changes because they don't run off of that stuff. They're strictly electric, so you don't have to constantly be taking your car in for an oil change or transmission checks or anything. But the downside to owning an electric vehicle is the parts are more rare, and so the upfront cost might be a little more expensive. In a study that Tesla did, they had an electric vehicle that hit 300,000 miles and throughout its lifetime only had about $11,000 in maintenance, but they compared it to another vehicle that also hit 300,000 miles and it had about $85,000 worth of maintenance in its lifetime. The EPA is working with the Department of Transportation to set greenhouse gas emission standards for all vehicles that are produced from 2012 to 2025. Light-duty passenger vehicles are supposed to help reduce the amount of oil and cut it by 6 billion metric tons. And it also helps you to save money at the pump, and it will double the fuel efficiency of the vehicles. And the heavy-duty vehicles cut by 270 million, and it will also save about 530 million barrels of oil a year. In conclusion, we need to take steps to eliminate the amount of air pollution that we are emitting, and a big problem is the car emissions. So why not start with car emissions? There are the smaller steps you can take, like carpooling or riding a bike or walking, if you can't afford to buy a new car and you can't afford to buy an electric car. But every step that you take counts, and it's good to start small because it helps you start somewhere. Alright, thank you for watching my presentation on car pollution. Thank you.